The scent of expensive cigars and aged whiskey clung to the velvet curtains of the private dining room. Thick enough to taste on my tongue, I pressed my back against the mahogany serving cart, trying to become invisible, a skill I'd perfected over 3 years of working at Vincenzo's, the kind of restaurant where a single bottle of wine cost more than my monthly rent. My fingers trembled as I arranged crystal glasses on a silver tray, the delicate clink barely audible over the low murmur of male voices beyond the carved doors. I shouldn't have been here. Sarah was supposed to work the private rooms tonight, but her daughter had a fever, and I needed the extra money, always needed the extra money. The tips from these rooms could cover Lily's preschool for a month, maybe fix the leak in our apartment ceiling that the landlord kept ignoring. "Miss?" Giovanni, the head server, appeared beside me with his perpetual frown. "Table 7. Now. Don't speak unless spoken to, don't make eye contact, and for God's sake, don't spill anything." My stomach twisted. Table 7. Everyone knew about Table 7, the corner booth that stayed reserved every Thursday night, surrounded by men in expensive suits who never smiled, the kind of men who made even Giovanni nervous. I nodded, lifted the tray, and pushed through the doors. The temperature seemed to drop as I entered. 6 men sat around the circular table, but my attention snagged immediately on the one in the center. He couldn't have been more than 30, with dark hair styled with casual precision and a jawline that belonged on magazine covers. But it wasn't his beauty that made my breath catch. It was the absolute stillness that surrounded him, like the eye of a hurricane. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than my car, if my car still ran, and a watch that gleamed with understated wealth. 2 men flanked him, their eyes constantly scanning the room. Another stood by the door, hand resting inside his jacket in a way that made my pulse quicken. "Don't think about it. Just serve and leave." I approached on silent feet, keeping my eyes down as I'd been taught. The conversation paused. I could feel their attention shift to me like a physical weight. "Gentlemen," I murmured, setting down the first glass. My hand stayed steady through years of practice, even as sweat gathered between my shoulder blades. "Your wine." I moved around the table with mechanical precision, filling each glass exactly halfway. The men resumed their discussion, something about shipments and territories that I definitely didn't want to understand. I was nearly finished, nearly free, when I reached him. Up close, he was devastating. His cologne hit me first, sandalwood and something darker, almost predatory. His hands rested on the table, long fingers adorned with a single ring bearing an ornate crest. There was a faint scar along his jaw, barely visible, that somehow made him more dangerous rather than less. I poured his wine, careful not to let the bottle touch the glass rim. "What's your name?" His voice was quiet, almost gentle, but it sliced through the other conversations like a blade. Everyone fell silent. I froze, bottle suspended in air. Giovanni's warning echoed in my head. "Elena, sir," I whispered. "Elena." He spoke my name like he was tasting it, rolling it around his mouth. "You're new to this room." It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. "Yes, sir. I'm filling in for—" "Look at me when I'm speaking to you." My eyes lifted before I could stop them. The impact of his gaze was physical. Dark eyes that seemed to catalog every detail of my face, my worn uniform, the exhaustion I couldn't quite hide. Intelligence gleamed there, and something else. Something that made me feel like prey that had just been spotted by a wolf. "How long have you worked here, Elena?" 3 years, sir." My voice came out steadier than I felt. A slight smile curved his lips, never reaching his eyes. "And yet we haven't met. I would have remembered." One of the other men chuckled, but it died quickly when the man in the center didn't join in. His attention remained fixed on me with an intensity that made my skin prickle. "You may go," he said finally, leaning back in his chair, "but you'll serve this room from now on, every Thursday." It wasn't a request. My mouth went dry. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." I turned to leave, my legs unsteady beneath my uniform skirt. I was almost to the door when his voice stopped me again. "Elena." I looked back. He was watching me with an expression I couldn't read. "Be careful walking home tonight. This neighborhood isn't safe for someone like you." The words felt like both a warning and a promise. I fled. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur of anxiety and hyper-awareness. Every Thursday, I served table 7. Every Thursday, his eyes followed me around the room like dark stars tracking a planet's orbit. The other men treated me with a courtesy that felt manufactured, careful, as if I were made of glass, or as if I belonged to someone who would break them if they touched me. He rarely spoke to me directly, but I felt his attention constantly. Once, when another server bumped into me and I nearly dropped a tray, I heard the sharp intake of breath from table 7, saw him half rise from his seat, before I caught my balance. The server apologized profusely, but he was transferred to a different section the next day. I should have been terrified. Part of me was. But there was something else, too, a shameful flutter in my chest whenever I saw him. A hyper-awareness of my own body when those dark eyes traced my movements. I tried to learn about him discreetly. The other servers spoke in whispers. Alessandro Vitale, Maria told me one night as we cleaned. Don't you read the news? His family basically owns the eastern waterfront. And half the city council, Diego added grimly. Stay away from him, Elena. Men like that, they collect pretty things. And they don't like to share. But I couldn't stay away. Not when Giovanni kept scheduling me for Thursday nights. His expression apologetic but firm. It's not my decision, he'd said. The request came from above. From him, he meant. On the 4th Thursday, everything changed. I was pouring wine, always the same careful ritual. When a phone buzzed on the table, one of Alessandro's men picked it up, his face going pale as he read the screen. He leaned in close, whispered something in Alessandro's ear. The temperature in the room plummeted. Alessandro's expression didn't change, but something shifted in the air around him, like the moment before lightning strikes. His fingers tightened almost imperceptibly on his glass. When? His voice was soft, deadly. 20 minutes ago. He took the shipment and the money. A muscle ticked in Alessandro's jaw. Find him. Bring him to the warehouse, alive. The men stood immediately, but Alessandro remained seated, his eyes finding mine across the room. I was frozen by the door, tray clutched against my chest, having witnessed something I absolutely should not have. Elena. My name was a command. Come here. My feet moved on autopilot. The other men filed out, leaving us alone except for the one guard by the door. My heart hammered against my ribs. I stopped beside the table. Alessandro studied me with those unreadable dark eyes. You heard that conversation. It wasn't a question. I nodded, my throat too tight for words. Are you frightened? I should have lied, should have denied it. But something about his directness demanded honesty. Yes. Good. He stood, and suddenly he was close. Too close. I could feel the heat radiating from his body, smell that intoxicating cologne. Fear keeps people alive, but you should know something, Elena. You're not what I'm angry about tonight. His hand lifted, and I flinched before I could stop myself. He froze, something flickering across his face. Disappointment? Anger? Then his fingers brushed my cheek with shocking gentleness, tucking a loose strand of hair behind my ear. So fragile, he murmured, almost to himself. Do you have family, Elena? The question threw me. A daughter, Lily, she's 4. His eyes sharpened. The father? Gone. It's just us. He nodded slowly, as if I'd confirmed something. And you work yourself to exhaustion in this place, serving men who don't see you, to keep her fed and safe. It wasn't a question, but tears burned behind my eyes anyway. He saw too much, understood too much. I need to go, I whispered. My shift is over. Marco will drive you home. I don't. You can, and you will. His thumb traced my cheekbone, the touch sending shivers down my spine. Because I've decided something tonight, Elena. I've decided that you deserve better than walking home alone through dangerous streets, that you deserve someone to ensure you're safe. Why? The word escaped before I could stop it. Why do you care? His smile was slow, dangerous, beautiful. Because you're mine now. You just don't know it yet. Before I could process those words, His phone buzzed. He checked it, and that lethal coldness returned to his features. "Marco," he called. The guard stepped forward. "Take Elena home. Stay with her until she's inside. Watch the building tonight." "Sir." "That's not a request." I was ushered out before I could protest, my mind reeling. In the parking lot, a sleek black car waited, and a man I'd never seen, presumably Marco, opened the back door with military precision. I slid inside, my hands shaking. Through the tinted window, I could see Alessandro standing in the restaurant's entrance, phone to his ear, his profile sharp as a knife blade in the streetlight. Even from here, I could feel the rage emanating from him, tightly controlled but devastating. As Marco pulled away from the curb, I caught Alessandro's eyes one last time. The possessiveness in that gaze made my breath catch, like I was something precious he'd claimed, something he would protect with the same ruthless intensity he brought to everything else. I didn't understand it, didn't understand why a man like him would notice someone like me. But as we drove through the dark city streets toward my shabby apartment building, one thought repeated in my mind like a prayer or a warning. My life had just changed forever, and I hadn't even realized the moment it happened. The black car idled outside my building like a predator in the shadows. Through the smudged window, I could see Mrs. Chen's curtains twitch on the second floor. By morning, the entire building would know about the expensive vehicle that had delivered me home. Marco hadn't spoken during the drive, but his eyes constantly scanned the mirrors, the streets, cataloging threats I couldn't see. "Thank you," I managed, reaching for the door handle. "Wait." His voice was gruff, professional. He got out first, surveyed the empty street, then opened my door. "I'll walk you up." "That's really not—" "Ma'am." His tone left no room for argument. Mr. Vitale's instructions were clear. Mr. Vitale. Even his name felt dangerous on someone else's tongue. My apartment was on the 4th floor of a building that had seen better decades. The elevator had been broken for 2 months, so we climbed the concrete stairs, our footsteps echoing in the stairwell that smelled of old cooking grease and mildew. I was acutely aware of the contrast. Marco's tailored suit and polished shoes ascending stairs where the railing wobbled, and the walls bore stains I tried not to think about. Shame heated my cheeks. This was my reality. This was what Alessandro had claimed to want to protect. At my door, I fumbled with my keys, hyper-aware of Marco's presence behind me. Inside, I could hear the television. Mrs. Rodriguez from next door was watching Lily, as she did every Thursday night. "I'm fine from here," I said, turning to face him. Marco's expression remained neutral. "I'll be in the car. Call this number if you need anything." He handed me a card with nothing but a phone number embossed in black. Anything at all. Then he was gone, his footsteps fading down the stairs with military precision. I stood in the hallway for a long moment, the card burning in my palm like evidence of something I didn't understand. Through my door, I heard Lily's laugh, bright and innocent and utterly oblivious to the darkness that had just touched our lives. I pocketed the card and went inside. Sleep didn't come that night. I lay in my narrow bed, staring at the water-stained ceiling, replaying every moment. "You're mine now." The words should have terrified me. Instead, they circled in my mind like a dark lullaby, tinged with something that felt dangerously like longing. No one had ever looked at me the way Alessandro did, like I was something precious, something worth protecting. James, Lily's father, had looked through me even when we were together, his attention always elsewhere, already planning his escape. My own parents had written me off when I got pregnant at 22, their disappointment so thick I could taste it. But Alessandro saw me. Those dark eyes missed nothing. I rolled over, punching my thin pillow into submission. This was insane. He was dangerous, criminal, the kind of man mothers warned their daughters about. And yet, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. My heart kicked into overdrive. "Sleep well, Elena. Marco will remain outside tonight. You're safe." No signature. None needed. I stared at the glowing screen, my pulse hammering in my throat. He was having me watched, protected. The thought should have felt invasive, threatening. Instead, for the first time in 4 years, I felt like I could breathe. I typed and deleted 3 responses before finally settling on, "Thank you." The reply came instantly, "Don't thank me yet." Friday morning arrived with weak sunlight filtering through my curtained window. Lily bounced on my bed at 7, her dark curls wild around her face, demanding pancakes with the imperious authority only a 4-year-old could muster. "Mama, there's a big car outside." She pressed her nose to the window, like a princess car. My stomach dropped. I joined her at the window, and sure enough, the black sedan remained parked across the street. In daylight, it looked even more out of place, gleaming and expensive against the backdrop of rusted fire escapes and cracked pavement. "Just someone visiting, baby," I forced brightness into my voice. "Come on, let's make those pancakes." The morning routine unfolded with practiced efficiency. Breakfast, cartoons, getting Lily dressed in her favorite purple shirt. I tried to focus on the mundane tasks, but my attention kept drifting to the window, to the car that hadn't moved. At 8:30, Mrs. Rodriguez knocked to collect Lily for preschool drop-off. She took one look at my face and frowned. "You okay, mija? You look like you didn't sleep, just a long shift." I kissed Lily's forehead, breathing in her baby shampoo scent. "Be good for Mrs. Rodriguez, okay?" "I'm always good," Lily declared, skipping toward the door. Then she paused, spinning back. "Mama, can we have ice cream later?" "We'll see, baby." After they left, the apartment felt cavernous and silent. I showered, the hot water a luxury I usually rationed, trying to wash away the confusion of the previous night. It didn't work. Alessandro's touch lingered on my skin like a brand, his words echoing in my head. I was toweling my hair when someone knocked, not the casual rap of a neighbor. This was authoritative, commanding. My heart lurched into my throat. Through the peephole, I saw Marco standing in the hallway, holding a large shopping bag. I opened the door a crack, suddenly aware of my worn pajama pants and tank top. "Is something wrong?" "Mr. Vitale asked me to deliver this." He extended the bag. Through the expensive paper, I could see fabric, clothing. "He thought you might need something more comfortable than your work uniform." Heat flooded my face. "I can't accept." "With respect, ma'am, refusing would be unwise." Marco's expression remained carefully neutral, but I heard the warning. "Mr. Vitale doesn't like his gifts rejected." I took the bag with numb fingers. It weighed almost nothing but felt heavy as lead. Does he want something? Expect something? For the first time, Marco's professional mask cracked slightly. Something almost like sympathy flickered in his eyes. "Mr. Vitale protects what's his. That's all you need to understand right now." He left before I could formulate a response. Inside the bag, I found clothes that must have cost more than 3 months of my rent, a cashmere sweater in deep emerald. Designer jeans in exactly my size. How did he know my size? Silk underwear that made me gasp. And at the bottom, a velvet box. My hands shook as I opened it. A necklace lay coiled inside, delicate gold chain with a small pendant. I lifted it into the light, and my breath caught. The pendant was a tiny cage, beautifully wrought, with a bird inside. The bird's wings were spread as if mid-flight, forever trapped in its golden prison. The metaphor wasn't subtle. My phone buzzed. "Do you like it?" I should have said no. Should have demanded he stop, that I couldn't accept these things, that whatever he thought was happening couldn't happen. Instead, I fastened the necklace around my throat, feeling the pendant settle against my collarbone like a claim. "It's beautiful," I typed, "but I don't understand why." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, "You will be ready at 7 tonight. Wear the green." "Ready for what?" "Dinner. With me. Just us." My heart hammered so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. "I can't." "Lily, already arranged. Mrs. Rodriguez will watch her. I've taken care of everything." Of course he had. He'd probably known my daughter's name before I'd mentioned her, known my schedule, my debts, every vulnerable detail of my life. "This is crazy," I sent. "Yes," came the immediate reply. "But you're going to say yes anyway. He was right. God help me. He was right. 7 o'clock, I confirmed. Good girl. Those 2 words shouldn't have affected me the way they did. Warmth pooling low in my belly. my skin flushing despite the cool apartment air. I pressed my palm against the pendant, feeling its outline through my tank top. What was I doing? This man was dangerous, connected to things I didn't want to understand. But when I closed my eyes, all I could see was the way he'd looked at me. Like I was the most fascinating creature he'd ever encountered. Like my exhaustion and struggles made me precious rather than pathetic. For so long, I'd been invisible. A single mother scraping by, unremarkable, forgettable. But Alessandro Vitale saw me, more than that. He wanted me. The question was, what would that cost? The day crawled by with agonizing slowness. I tried to read, to clean the already clean apartment, to focus on anything other than the clock. At 3, I picked up Lily from Mrs. Rodriguez, who studied me with knowing eyes. "That man who brought you home," she said carefully. He looked important. Just someone from the restaurant. The lie tasted bitter. "Mija." She caught my hand. "Be careful. Important men, they take what they want. And they don't always give it back." Her words haunted me as I played with Lily, as I made dinner, as I bathed her and tucked her into bed early with promises of a special breakfast tomorrow. At 6:30, Mrs. Rodriguez knocked again, her expression concerned but not judgmental. "You look beautiful," she said softly, taking in the emerald sweater that hugged my curves, the jeans that fit like they'd been custom-made. "Just remember, you have a daughter. You have something to lose." "I know," I whispered. "I haven't forgotten." But as I waited by the window, watching the street for Alessandro's car, I wondered if that was true. If I was already forgetting everything except the dark promise in his eyes, and the dangerous feeling that, for the first time in years, I mattered to someone. At 7 exactly, a different car pulled up, a sleek silver Mercedes with windows so dark I couldn't see inside. Marco emerged from the driver's seat and opened the back door. And there he was. Alessandro Vitale stepped onto my street like he owned it, which he probably did. Tonight he wore a black suit that probably cost more than my car had when it still ran. No tie. The top buttons of his shirt undone to reveal a glimpse of tan throat. His hair was slightly disheveled, as if he'd been running his hands through it. Those dark eyes found my window immediately, unerringly, and the intensity in them made my knees weak. He smiled. Not the controlled, dangerous smile from the restaurant. This one was almost boyish, genuine, transforming his features from merely handsome to absolutely devastating. I grabbed my purse, my old worn purse that clashed horribly with the expensive clothes, and headed downstairs on trembling legs. Marco stood by the open car door, his expression professionally blank, but as I approached, he leaned in slightly. "Be yourself," he murmured. "That's what he wants." Then I was sliding into the car, into the leather-scented interior, and Alessandro was beside me, close enough that I could feel his body heat, smell that intoxicating cologne. "Elena." My name on his lips was a caress. His eyes traveled over me slowly, thoroughly, and when they reached the necklace at my throat, something fierce and possessive flared in their depths. Perfect. The car pulled away from the curb, leaving my world behind. "Where are we going?" I managed. His hand found mine in the space between us, his thumb tracing circles on my palm that sent shivers up my arm. "Somewhere we can talk. Somewhere private." That should have terrified me. Instead, as his fingers laced with mine, strong, warm, claiming, all I felt was the dangerous, intoxicating rush of falling. The restaurant wasn't a restaurant at all. Marco drove us through increasingly upscale neighborhoods, away from the waterfront and my cramped apartment, toward the hills where old money built estates behind iron gates. We turned onto a private road lined with ancient oaks, their branches forming a canopy that blocked out the evening sky. At the end, a mansion rose from manicured grounds, all stone and glass and understated wealth that whispered, rather than shouted. "This is your home?" My voice came out smaller than I intended. Alessandro's thumb continued its maddening circles on my palm. "One of them. I thought you'd be more comfortable here than in a public place." His eyes found mine in the dim interior. No one watching, no one listening, just us. The car stopped before a grand entrance where warm light spilled from tall windows. Marco opened the door, and Alessandro guided me out with a hand at the small of my back. Possessive, protective, proprietary. Inside, the house was a study in controlled elegance. Marble floors reflected soft lighting from crystal chandeliers. Original artwork lined the walls, pieces I recognized from my brief art history class in college, paintings that belonged in museums. A curved staircase swept upward to the second floor, its banister gleaming dark wood, but it was the silence that struck me most. Despite its size, the house felt empty. No staff bustling about, no voices echoing from distant rooms. Just Alessandro and me, and the weight of everything unspoken between us. Come. He led me through an archway into a dining room where a table had been set for two. Candles flickered in silver holders, casting dancing shadows across fine china and crystal glasses. French doors opened onto a terrace overlooking gardens lit by subtle landscape lighting. It was beautiful, romantic, completely terrifying. I should tell you, I said, my voice barely steady. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't understand what you want from me. Alessandro pulled out a chair, waiting until I sat before taking his own seat across from me. The candlelight played across his features, softening the dangerous edges, making him look almost human. Almost. I want to know you, he said simply. Everything. Starting with why you looked so devastated that first night I saw you. The observation caught me off guard. I'd thought I'd hidden it well. The exhaustion, the desperation, the bone-deep weariness of fighting alone. You notice that? I notice everything about you, Elena. His intensity made the air feel thinner. You move through that room like a ghost. Beautiful, fragile, trying so hard to be invisible. It made me furious. Furious. I gripped my napkin beneath the table. Why? Because someone like you should never have to disappear. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, his focus absolute. Tell me about Lily's father. The subject change was deliberate, calculated. I should have refused, maintained some boundary. But those dark eyes held mine with such command that the truth spilled out. James. His name tasted like ashes. We met in college. I thought he loved me. But when I got pregnant, I swallowed hard. He left before she was born, said he wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility. Last I heard, he was in California, working for some tech startup. And your family? Disappointed. I was supposed to finish my degree, become something respectable. Instead, I became a cautionary tale. The bitterness surprised me. I usually kept it buried deeper. My parents haven't spoken to me in 3 years. Alessandro's expression darkened. They abandoned you when you needed them most. They made their choice. I made mine. I touched the pendant at my throat unconsciously. Lily is worth everything I lost. A good mother. His voice held something I couldn't identify. Approval? Longing? Fierce and protective. I respect that. A door opened, and an older woman entered carrying plates of food that smelled divine. She set them before us with practiced efficiency, her eyes carefully avoiding mine, then disappeared as silently as she'd come. Maria, Alessandro explained. She's worked for my family for 30 years. One of the few people I trust completely. He gestured to the food, some kind of pasta in cream sauce, with herbs I couldn't name. Eat, please. You're too thin. The observation should have stung, but his tone held concern rather than criticism. I picked up my fork, and the first bite exploded across my tongue. Rich, complex, nothing like the budget meals I cobbled together at home. It's incredible, I breathed. Maria learned to cook in Tuscany. He watched me eat with unmistakable satisfaction. I'll have her teach you, if you'd like, when you move in. I choked on my wine. Move in? Alessandro, not yet. He cut me off gently. I'm not a fool, Elena. I know this is overwhelming, but I'm a patient man when I want something. And I want you. Why? The question burst out desperately. Look at me. Look at this place. We're from different worlds. I have a daughter, debt, no education. Nothing to offer someone like you. Alessandro set down his fork with deliberate care. When he spoke, his voice was soft, but it carried the weight of absolute certainty. You want to know what I see when I look at you? I see a woman who works herself to exhaustion to provide for her child, who holds her head high despite everything she's lost, who's terrified right now, but came anyway because you're brave, even if you don't know it. He paused, his gaze boring into me. I've spent my life surrounded by people who want something from me. Power, money, protection. You're the first person in years who looked at me and saw a man, not an opportunity. My throat tightened. You don't even know me. Then let me. He reached across the table, his hand palm up in invitation. Let me learn every detail. Your favorite color, what makes you laugh, what you dream about when you allow yourself to dream. I stared at his outstretched hand. Strong, scarred across the knuckles, capable of violence I didn't want to imagine. And gentleness, apparently. Protection. The pendant seemed to warm against my skin. Slowly, I placed my hand in his fingers closed around mine, and something shifted in his expression. Triumph, mixed with something softer. There, he murmured. Was that so difficult? Yes, I admitted. Terrifying, actually. His laugh surprised me. Genuine, warm, transforming his face completely. Honesty. I like that about you. He stood, drawing me to my feet. Come. I want to show you something. He led me through the house, up that sweeping staircase, down a hallway lined with more priceless art. At the end, he opened a door onto what could only be described as a library, floor-to-ceiling shelves crammed with books, leather furniture arranged before a massive stone fireplace, and windows overlooking the gardens. This is my favorite room, he said, releasing my hand to walk to the shelves. His fingers trailed across spines with obvious affection. My mother loved to read. She'd spend hours here when I was young. His voice roughened slightly. She died when I was 15. The vulnerability in that admission made my chest ache. I'm sorry. Cancer. He pulled a book from the shelf, a worn copy of Jane Eyre. This was hers. She read it to me when I was sick once. I was 12 and thought it was a stupid romance. Now. He smiled sadly. Now I understand what she was trying to teach me. That love can be both prison and freedom, depending on who holds the key. I thought of the pendant, the bird in its golden cage. Is that what this is? You trying to cage me? No. He set the book down and crossed to me, his movements predatory and graceful. I'm trying to give you wings, a cage made of safety, resources, protection. But one you can leave if you choose. His hands framed my face, tilting it up to meet his gaze. I won't lie to you, Elena. I'm a dangerous man. I've done things that would horrify you. My world is violent and unforgiving. Then why? Because you make me want to be better. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. Because when I look at you, I see something worth protecting, worth treasuring, and I haven't felt that in a very long time. His mouth was inches from mine. I could feel his breath, see the gold flecks in his dark eyes, smell his cologne mixing with something uniquely him. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might break free. I should go, I whispered, even as my body swayed toward him. This is too much, too fast. Yes, he agreed, but he didn't move away. You should run from me. You should take your daughter and disappear somewhere I'll never find you. His hand slid into my hair, gentle but commanding. But you won't. How do you know? Because you feel it too, this thing between us. His forehead touched mine, and the intimacy of it stole my breath. Tell me you don't, and I'll take you home right now. I'll leave you alone. But lie to me, Elena, and I'll know. I couldn't. God help me, I couldn't lie. I feel it, I admitted, the words barely audible. It terrifies me. Good. His smile was pure sin. It should. But I promise you this. I will never hurt you. Never let anyone else hurt you. You and Lily, you're under my protection now. No one touches what's mine. I'm not. You are. His certainty was absolute. You just need time to accept it. Then his phone buzzed, shattering the moment. Alessandro's expression shifted instantly, the softness vanishing, replaced by cold calculation. He checked the screen, and his jaw tightened. Problem? I asked, my voice unsteady. Nothing you need to worry about, but his eyes said otherwise. He typed a quick response, then pocketed the phone. I'm sorry. I need to handle something. Marco will take you home. Disappointment crashed through me, sharp and unexpected. Oh, of course. He caught my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. This isn't a dismissal. I want you here, in this room, in my bed if you'd let me. But business calls, and this particular business, his expression darkened. It involves someone who tried to steal from me. Someone who thought they could betray me and live. The reminder of who he was, what he was, should have doused my desire like cold water. Instead, something primitive and feminine inside me responded to the danger, the power, the absolute dominance he projected. The man from last night, I guessed. At the restaurant? Smart girl. He kissed my forehead, a gesture so tender it seemed at odds with the violence in his words. He made a mistake. Took something that belonged to me. Now he pays the price. What will you do to him? Alessandro's smile was terrible. Nothing he doesn't deserve, but you don't need those images in your head. Come. He walked me downstairs where Marco waited by the door, professional as always. In the car, Alessandro's hand found mine again, his thumb resuming those maddening circles. Tomorrow, he said, I'll send a car at noon. We'll have lunch. I have a shift. Already handled. Giovanni will understand. Of course he would. Alessandro probably owned the restaurant. Say yes, Elena. I thought of his library, his mother's book, the way he'd looked at me like I was the answer to a question he'd been asking his whole life. I thought of Lily and bills and the grinding exhaustion of my life, and I thought of how, for just a few hours, I'd felt seen, valued, protected. Yes, I whispered. His smile was victory and promise. Sleep well, beautiful. Dream of me. He kissed my knuckles, a courtly, old-fashioned gesture that shouldn't have melted my insides but did. Then he was gone, striding back into his mansion of secrets and danger. Marco drove me home in silence. At my door, he handed me another card. Direct line to Mr. Vitale, any time, day or night. I clutched it like a lifeline and went inside. Mrs. Rodriguez dozed on my couch, some telenovela playing softly on the television. I paid her, assured her everything was fine, and checked on Lily, sleeping peacefully, her small hand clutching her stuffed rabbit. In my own bed, I touched the pendant at my throat and wondered what the hell I was doing. My phone buzzed. Are you thinking of me? God, yes. Maybe. Liar. Sleep, Elena. Tomorrow I'll show you more of my world. That was what terrified me most. I couldn't wait. The next 3 weeks dissolved into a fever dream of Alessandro's world consuming mine. Lunch the following day became dinner that evening. Dinner became late-night phone calls where his voice wrapped around me in the darkness, asking about Lily's day, my dreams, the things that made me laugh. He learned that I loved old movies, that I'd wanted to be a teacher before life derailed those plans, that my favorite color was the deep blue of the ocean I'd only seen twice in my life. And I learned him. Discovered that beneath the dangerous exterior lived a man who read poetry, who supported a dozen charities anonymously, who still visited his mother's grave every Sunday. A man whose rare, genuine smiles felt like gifts, a man whose darkness was real but not all-consuming. He never pressured me for more than I could give. Never demanded I come to his bed, though the hunger in his eyes made my skin burn. Instead, he courted me with old-fashioned intensity, flowers delivered to the restaurant, books he thought I'd enjoy, a new winter coat for Lily that made her squeal with delight. He's buying you, Maria from work warned. Men like that, they don't give without expecting something back. But she was wrong. Alessandro gave because it pleased him to see me happy, because providing for me and Lily satisfied something primal in his nature. The expensive gifts made me uncomfortable at first. I tried to refuse a cashmere coat, a leather bag that cost more than 2 months' rent. He'd simply looked at me with those dark eyes and said, "Let me take care of you. It's what I need to do." And somehow, I understood. This was his language, protection expressed through material things, safety woven from money and power. It should have felt transactional. Instead, it felt like worship. But there were reminders of his other life. The phone calls that made his expression shudder. Marco's constant presence, now a familiar fixture outside my building. The night I woke at 2 a.m. to find a text. Had to handle something. Don't worry, I'm fine. I'd learned not to ask about those things, not because he'd forbidden it, but because the careful way he redirected told me everything I needed to know. Some parts of his world would always remain closed to me, dark corners where violence lived. Then came the dinner party. I want you to meet my inner circle, Alessandro said one evening as we walked through his gardens, my hand tucked in the crook of his elbow. November had turned cold, but his body heat kept me warm. The men I trust with my life, my family, in every way that matters. Anxiety spiked through me. Alessandro, I don't know if... You'll be perfect. He stopped, turning me to face him. We stood beneath an arbor where the last autumn roses clung stubbornly to their vines. They need to see you, need to understand that you're important to me, that you're protected. The weight behind those words made my stomach flutter. How important. His hand cupped my cheek, his touch always so gentle despite the violence those hands were capable of. The most important. The only thing that matters more than my family's legacy. His thumb brushed my lower lip, and heat pooled low in my belly. Say you'll come. Please. I'd never heard him say please before. The vulnerability in it undid me. I'll come. His kiss was soft, reverent, barely a brush of lips that somehow felt more intimate than anything we'd shared. When he pulled back, his eyes held promises that made me tremble. Saturday night. I'll send something for you to wear. His smile turned wicked. Something that will make every man in the room jealous that you're mine. I'm not... You are. His certainty never wavered. You just haven't admitted it yet. Saturday arrived wrapped in anxiety. The dress he sent was midnight blue silk that draped over my curves like water, sophisticated and sensual without being overtly sexual. Matching heels that added 3 inches to my height. Jewelry. Sapphires that probably cost more than my car had when it was new. I stood before my bathroom mirror, hardly recognizing myself. The exhausted waitress had vanished, replaced by someone who looked like she belonged in Alessandro's world. Mrs. Rodriguez watched from the doorway, Lily asleep in her arms. You look like a princess, mija, she said softly. But her eyes held worry. Just remember who you are beneath all that silk. I won't forget. But even as I said it, I wondered if it was true. Each day with Alessandro made my old life feel more distant, less real, like I was slowly becoming someone new. Marco collected me at 7. The drive to Alessandro's mansion felt shorter than before, familiarity dulling the edge of strangeness. But when we pulled up, my anxiety returned full force. Cars lined the circular drive, expensive, sleek vehicles that spoke of wealth and power. Through the lit windows, I could see people moving, hear the low hum of conversation and laughter. Alessandro waited at the entrance, devastating in a charcoal suit that emphasized his lean, powerful build. But it was his expression when he saw me that stole my breath. Raw desire mixed with possessive pride that made my knees weak. Cristo, he breathed, meeting me at the car. His hands spanned my waist, pulling me close. You're stunning. Perfect. Mine. He kissed me then, not the gentle brushes we'd shared before, but deep and claiming, his tongue sweeping into my mouth with commanding certainty. I melted against him, my hands fisting in his jacket, all my careful composure dissolving under his assault. When he finally pulled back, we were both breathing hard. His eyes had gone nearly black with want. Tonight is going to be torture, he murmured against my temple, having you near, but not being able to touch you the way I want to. Alessandro. I know. Patience. He straightened, visibly collecting himself. But know this, Elena. I'm running out of it. Soon I'm going to make you mine in every way. And when I do, there will be no going back. The promise sent shivers down my spine. He offered his arm, and I took it on trembling legs. Inside, the house had been transformed. Candles flickered everywhere, casting golden light across polished surfaces. Waiters circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. In the main room, Perhaps 20 people mingled, men in expensive suits, women dripping with jewelry and designer clothes. All conversation stopped when we entered. Alessandro's hand tightened on mine. Reassuring and possessive. Everyone. His voice carried effortlessly through the sudden silence. This is Elena. She's under my protection. Treat her accordingly. The words were simple but weighted with meaning that made several people's eyes widen. Under his protection. In their world, that meant something specific, something binding. A barrel-chested man with silver hair approached first, his smile warm, but his eyes sharp and assessing. So this is the woman who's tamed our Alessandro, Vittorio Constantino. He kissed my hand with old-world courtesy. A pleasure, signorina. Elena works, I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. Vittorio laughed, a booming sound that eased some of my tension. Spirit, I like it. Alessandro always did prefer fire to ice. Others approached. A parade of names and faces I struggled to track. Carlo, Alessandro's lieutenant, who looked too young for the hardness in his eyes. Sophia, a striking woman in red who studied me with unconcealed curiosity. Marco, of course, who gave me a subtle nod of approval. Through it all, Alessandro remained at my side, his presence a solid anchor. His hand never left the small of my back, that possessive touch a constant reminder that I wasn't alone in this overwhelming world. Dinner was elaborate, courses I couldn't name, wine that probably cost more than my monthly salary. I was seated at Alessandro's right hand, a position of honor that wasn't lost on anyone. Across from me, a blonde woman in diamonds watched with barely concealed hostility. So, Elena, she purred, her accent vaguely European. How exactly did you capture Alessandro's attention? He's usually so selective. The malice beneath the polite words was clear. Alessandro's hand found my thigh under the table, squeezing gently, a warning to the woman, reassurance to me. We met at her workplace, Alessandro said smoothly, his tone pleasant, but edged with steel. She served me, and unlike most people I encounter, she treated me like a human being rather than a commodity. How refreshing. The blonde smile didn't reach her eyes. And your background, Elena, your family? Isabel. Alessandro's voice dropped to a dangerous purr, but I'd had enough of being treated like I didn't belong. I straightened in my chair, meeting the woman's gaze directly. I'm a single mother working 2 jobs to support my daughter. No family money, no connections, nothing that would interest people in this room. I paused, letting the words hang. But Alessandro seems to find that valuable. Perhaps you should ask him why. Silence fell across the table. Then Vittorio's laughter boomed out. Fire indeed. I like her, Alessandro. Alessandro's hand tightened on my thigh. But when I glanced at him, his eyes shone with unmistakable pride. So do I, old friend, more than I can express. The rest of dinner passed in a blur of conversation I barely tracked. My confrontation with Isabel had apparently earned me respect, because several people engaged me afterward with genuine interest rather than thinly veiled condescension. After dinner, Alessandro drew me away from the crowd, leading me through French doors onto a terrace overlooking the gardens. The November air bit cold, and immediately he shrugged off his jacket, draping it over my shoulders. You were magnificent in there, he said, turning me to face him. Pride and desire warred in his expression. The way you stood up to Isabel, Cristo, I wanted to drag you upstairs right then. Heat flooded through me. She was testing me. They all were. His hands framed my face, tilting it up to meet his burning gaze. And you passed. Do you understand what that means, Elena? They accept you now. They see you as mine, as someone under my protection who can't be touched, can't be threatened, can't be harmed. Is that what I am? Just someone under your protection? No. His thumb traced my lower lip, and I couldn't stop myself from pressing a kiss to it. His breathing hitched. You're everything. The reason I wake up wanting to be better. The thought that gets me through dark days. The future I didn't know I wanted until I saw you. Alessandro, I love you. The words fell between us like stones in still water, sending ripples through everything. I know it's too soon, too fast. I know I should wait, be patient. But I've never been good at denying myself what I want. And I want you, Elena. Not just in my bed, though Christo knows I dream about that. I want you in my life, my home. I want to watch Lily grow up. I want to give you everything you've been denied. Tears burned behind my eyes. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're brave and fierce and beautiful. I know you'd sacrifice anything for your daughter. I know when you smile at me, really smile, it feels like the sun breaking through clouds. His forehead touched mine. Tell me you feel nothing, and I'll step back. I'll let you go. But lie to me, and I'll know. I couldn't lie. Not anymore. I feel everything, I whispered. It terrifies me. You terrify me. This world. What you do. The danger. I'll keep you safe. Both of you. On my life. On my family's name. I swear it. His mouth claimed mine with devastating certainty, and this time I didn't hold back. I kissed him with all the longing I'd been suppressing, all the desire and fear and desperate hope. His hands tangled in my hair, angling my head to deepen the kiss, and I moaned against his lips. When we finally broke apart, we were both shaking. Come upstairs with me, he breathed against my mouth. Let me worship you the way you deserve. Let me show you what it means to be mine. God, I wanted it so badly I ached, but... Lily, I managed. I need to get home to Lily. Frustration flashed across his features, but he nodded. Soon then. Soon you'll be here always, both of you. This will be your home. Alessandro, that's... My phone rang, cutting through the moment. Mrs. Rodriguez's number. My stomach dropped. Elena. Her voice was tight with fear. There are men outside your building. They're asking about you, about Mr. Vitale. Mija, I'm scared. I have Lily in my apartment with the door locked, but ice flooded my veins. Alessandro's expression shifted instantly. The lover vanishing, replaced by something cold and lethal. He heard enough to understand. We're coming, he said, his voice deadly calm. Then into his phone. Marco, get the car, now. And call Carlo. I want men at Elena's building 5 minutes ago. He grabbed my hand, and we were moving, his grip iron tight. As we rushed through the house, I saw his men falling into formation, weapons appearing from concealed holsters. This was his other world, the darkness he'd tried to shield me from, and it had just crashed into mine. In the car, Alessandro made rapid calls, his voice clipped and commanding. But his free hand never left mine, holding on like I might disappear. Who would do this? I asked, my voice small. His jaw was granite. Someone who wants to hurt me, who thinks you're my weakness. His eyes met mine, blazing with fury and something else. Fear, they're not wrong. But they've made a fatal mistake. They've threatened what's mine. The drive to my neighborhood felt eternal and too short. When we arrived, 4 black SUVs already bracketed my building. Men in suits fanned out, securing the perimeter. Neighbors peered from windows, phones out, probably calling the police. Alessandro was out before the car fully stopped, pulling me with him. Where? He demanded of one of his men. Gone, boss. Ran when we arrived. But they left this. He handed over a photograph. Alessandro's face went white, then red with rage. He showed me the picture, and my blood turned to ice. It was Lily, playing in the small park near our building. Someone had been watching her, watching us. A roar of pure fury tore from Alessandro's throat. The sound was inhuman, terrifying. Find them, he snarled at his men. I don't care what it takes. Find everyone involved and bring them to me alive. I want them to suffer. Then he was pulling me toward the building, taking the stairs 3 at a time. At Mrs. Rodriguez's door, he knocked. A controlled, measured sound despite the violence rolling off him in waves. She opened it a crack, then wider when she saw me. I rushed past into her apartment, finding Lily curled on the couch, tear-stained but unharmed. Relief hit me so hard my knees buckled. Mama! She launched herself into my arms, and I held her tight, breathing in her familiar scent, checking for injuries with shaking hands. I'm here, baby. You're safe. I promise you're safe. Behind me, Alessandro spoke quietly with Mrs. Rodriguez. When I finally looked up, his expression had softened slightly, though murder still lurked in his eyes. "Pack whatever you need," he said gently. "You're both coming home with me, tonight. No arguments." For once, I didn't have any. Not with that photograph burned into my brain. Not with the knowledge that someone had been close enough to my daughter to take her picture. "Okay," I whispered. "Okay." His relief was palpable. He knelt beside me, his hand gentle on Lily's back. "Hello, Piccola. My name is Alessandro. I'm a friend of your mama's. We're going to go somewhere very safe, okay?" Lily studied him with her solemn dark eyes. Then, to my shock, she reached out and touched his face. "You're pretty." Despite everything, Alessandro laughed, a genuine sound that cracked through the tension. "Thank you. You're very pretty, too, just like your mama." Within 20 minutes, we had bags packed. Mrs. Rodriguez promised to watch the apartment. Marco carried our belongings while Alessandro kept one arm around me, the other reaching down to hold Lily's hand. At his mansion, he led us to a guest suite that was larger than my entire apartment. A fire already crackled in the fireplace. The bed was enormous, piled with soft blankets. "This is yours," Alessandro said, "for as long as you need. Maria is preparing food. I know Lily must be hungry." He crouched down to Lily's level. "Tomorrow, would you like to see the gardens? There are butterflies." Lily's eyes went wide. "Real ones?" "Very real. And friendly." He smiled, and it transformed his face from dangerous to devastatingly gentle. "Your mama will be there too. I promise to keep you both very, very safe." After Lily was fed and tucked into the huge bed, Alessandro and I stood on the suite's private balcony. The city spread below us, distant and glittering. "I'm sorry," he said finally, his voice rough. "This is my fault. My enemies. My world. Putting you in danger. Who did this? I have theories. By morning, I'll have answers." His hands gripped the railing until his knuckles went white, and then I'll make them regret the day they were born. I should have been horrified by the violence in his words. Instead, I felt only savage satisfaction. They'd threatened my daughter. They deserved whatever he would do. "I need you to understand something," I said quietly. "If you're going to be in our lives, if Lily is going to be part of this, I need complete honesty. No more secrets, no more protection from your world. If we're yours, then we need to know what that means." He turned to me, and in his eyes I saw everything. Love, possession, darkness, light. "It means I will burn the world down before I let anyone hurt you. It means you'll never want for anything. It means I'll teach Lily to be strong, to defend herself, to take what's hers." He pulled me close, his heart hammering against mine. "And it means that from this moment forward, you belong to me as completely as I belong to you. No half measures, no going back." "I'm scared," I admitted. "Good. Fear keeps you smart." His lips brushed my temple. "But trust me, Elena. Trust that I'll protect what's mine with everything I have." I looked up at this beautiful, dangerous man who'd claimed me so completely, and I made my choice. "I trust you." His kiss was both promise and brand, marking me as irrevocably his. Morning came with weak winter sunlight filtering through silk curtains, and the foreign sensation of safety wrapping around me like a blanket. For the first time in years, I'd slept deeply, dreamlessly, knowing that armed men patrolled outside, that nothing could reach us here in Alessandro's fortress. Lily woke before me, her small hand patting my cheek. "Mama, there's a lady with pancakes." I sat up, disoriented, to find Maria standing in the doorway with a breakfast tray, her weathered face creased in a gentle smile. "Good morning, Signorina. Mr. Vitale thought you might be hungry." The kindness in her eyes made my throat tight. "Thank you, that's very thoughtful. He's been awake all night," she said quietly, setting the tray on a table by the window. "Making calls, gathering information, but he insisted I bring this to you first." She paused, studying me with the wisdom of someone who'd seen much. "He's a good man beneath all the darkness. Hard, yes. Dangerous, certainly, but good where it matters. After she left, Lily and I ate pancakes that melted on the tongue, fresh strawberries, orange juice that tasted like liquid sunshine. Through the window, I could see the gardens Alessandro had promised. Dormant now in November, but still beautiful, with stone paths winding between bare rose bushes and evergreen hedges. A knock interrupted my thoughts. "Come in," I called, expecting Maria. Alessandro entered and my breath caught. He looked exhausted, shadows under his eyes, his shirt rumpled and untucked, hair disheveled from running his hands through it. But when he saw us, some of the tension eased from his shoulders. "Did you sleep?" he asked, his voice rough, better than I have in years. I stood, instinctively moving toward him. "Did you?" "No, but I have answers." His eyes flicked to Lily, who was absorbed in her pancakes, then back to me. "Can we talk?" "Maria will stay with Lily." My stomach twisted, but I nodded. After ensuring Lily was content with Maria reading her a picture book, I followed Alessandro down the hallway to his study, a masculine room of dark wood and leather that smelled of whiskey and old books. He closed the door, and suddenly the exhaustion I'd seen transformed into barely controlled fury. It was Isabel's brother, Dante Rossini. He's been trying to move into territory that belongs to my family for months. Last night, seeing you, understanding what you mean to me, he slammed his fist on the desk, making me jump. He thought threatening you would give him leverage. "What are you going to do?" Alessandro's smile was terrifying. "What I should have done months ago. Dante made this personal. He involved an innocent woman and a child. In our world, that's unforgivable. Will you—" I couldn't finish the question, but he understood. "Kill him?" His eyes met mine, unflinching. "Yes, but not quickly. He needs to understand the consequences of touching what's mine, and everyone else needs to see what happens to those who make that mistake." I should have been horrified. Some part of me was, but a darker, more primal part felt only fierce satisfaction. Good. Something shifted in Alessandro's expression. Approval mixed with desire. "You understand." "I wasn't sure you would, but you understand what needs to be done." He threatened my daughter. My voice was steel. I'd kill him myself if I knew how. Alessandro crossed to me in 3 strides, his hands framing my face with that devastating gentleness. "This is why you're perfect for me. You have the same fire, the same absolute loyalty to what's yours. We're the same, Elena. We protect what we love with everything we have." "I love you," I whispered, the words escaping before I could stop them. "I know it's insane, that we barely know each other, but I do. I love you." His kiss was consuming, desperate, filled with all the fear and fury of the previous night. When he finally pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "Marry me." The words hung between us like a lightning strike. I stared at him, certain I'd misheard. "What?" "Marry me. Today, tomorrow, as soon as possible." His thumbs traced my cheekbones, his touch reverent. "I want you to have my name, my protection, everything I can give you. I want Lily to call me Papa. I want to wake up next to you every morning and know that you're mine in every way that matters. Alessandro, we can't just—" "Why not?" His intensity was overwhelming. "Give me one good reason why we should wait. I know what I want. I've known since that first night I saw you. Life is short, Elena, especially in my world. I refuse to waste time pretending I don't want forever with you." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "What about Lily? This is her life too. She barely knows you. Then we'll take time for her to know me. She can set the pace." His voice softened. "But say yes first. Say you'll be my wife. Let me love you both the way you deserve. Let me give you the life you should have had all along." I thought of my cramped apartment, the constant struggle, the fear that had been my companion for years. I thought of James abandoning us, my parents turning their backs, the endless exhaustion of fighting alone. And I thought of Alessandro, dangerous, possessive, absolutely certain in his devotion. A man who would burn the world to keep us safe. A man who looked at my daughter with genuine affection and at me like I was the answer to every question. "Yes," I breathed. "Yes, I'll marry you." His smile was incandescent. He kissed me again, deeper this time, his hands sliding down my body with clear intent. But before things could progress, someone knocked urgently on the door. "Boss." Marco's voice held tension. "We have him." Alessandro's expression shifted instantly, the lover vanishing, replaced by something cold and lethal. "Good. Take him to the warehouse. I'll be there within the hour." He looked at me, conflict warring in his eyes. "I need to handle this." "I know." I straightened my shoulders. "Do what needs to be done. We'll be here when you get back." Pride flashed across his features. "That's my fierce girl." He kissed my forehead. "Maria and 6 men will stay with you. Don't leave the grounds. Don't answer the door for anyone. I'll be back before dark." After he left, I returned to find Lily charming Maria with stories about her stuffed rabbit. The older woman's eyes were warm with affection. Clearly my daughter had already won her over. "He's gone to handle business?" Maria asked quietly. I nodded. She sighed, setting down the picture book. "This life, it's not easy. There will always be threats, always be danger. But that man, he would tear apart heaven and hell to protect you both. I've known him since he was a boy. I've never seen him like this, vulnerable, open, truly happy. You've given him something precious." "He's given me something too," I admitted. "Hope, security, the feeling that someone actually sees me." "Then you'll be good for each other," she smiled. "Now, shall we show this little one those butterflies?" Mr. Vitale has a greenhouse where they live year-round. The rest of the day passed in surreal domesticity. The greenhouse was magical, warm and humid, filled with tropical plants and hundreds of butterflies in every color. Lily shrieked with delight when one landed on her finger, her face glowing with wonder. "Pretty," she declared. "Mama, look." "I see, baby. It's beautiful." But I was thinking of Alessandro, of what he was doing at that moment, of Dante Rossini paying the price for threatening us. Some part of me knew I should feel guilty for my lack of horror, but I couldn't summon it. He'd taken a photograph of my daughter. He deserved whatever Alessandro did to him. Dusk fell, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Lily was bathed and fed, drowsy in my arms on the sofa in our suite, when I heard footsteps in the hallway. Alessandro appeared in the doorway, and my breath caught. He looked different, harder somehow, with fresh blood on his knuckles and something dark and satisfied in his eyes. But when he saw us, that hardness melted. "Is she asleep?" he asked quietly. "Almost." I watched as he crossed the room, his movements careful, controlled. He knelt beside the sofa, studying Lily's peaceful face with an expression of such tenderness, it made my heart ache. "She's beautiful," he murmured. "Like her mother." His eyes lifted to mine. "It's done. Dante won't threaten anyone again. And I've sent word through every channel. You and Lily are under my protection. Anyone who even looks at you wrong will answer to me." "Did he suffer?" Alessandro's smile was grim. "Yes, but not as much as he would have if he'd actually succeeded in hurting you. As it is, he died knowing exactly why." I should have felt something. Disgust, fear, moral outrage. Instead, I felt only relief and savage satisfaction. "Good." He leaned forward, kissing my forehead, then Lily's. "Let me clean up. Then we need to talk about the wedding." After Lily was tucked into bed, Alessandro and I sat on the balcony, wrapped in blankets against the November chill. He'd showered and changed, looking more like himself, though exhaustion still shadowed his eyes. "I want to do this right," he said, his hand finding mine. "A proper wedding if you want it, church, reception, the whole thing. Or we can go to the courthouse tomorrow if you prefer something simple. I don't care about the ceremony. I only care that you're mine legally, irrevocably. Something small," I decided. "Just us and a few people we trust. I don't need a spectacle. I just need you." His smile was tender. "Then we'll make it happen this week. Vittorio can witness, and Maria. Lily, of course." He paused, his thumb tracing circles on my palm. "What about your parents? Do you want to reach out to them?" The question surprised me. I don't know. They made their choice when I needed them most. But Lily deserves grandparents, and they deserve a chance to make things right. His eyes held mine. "I won't force it. But if you want to extend an olive branch, I'll support you. Hell, I'll fly them here first class and put them up in a hotel. Whatever you need. The generosity of it, the understanding that family was complicated, made my throat tight. Maybe, after the wedding, when things are settled. Whenever you're ready. He pulled me closer, and I rested my head on his shoulder, breathing in his familiar scent. Elena, I need you to understand something. My life, my world, it's always going to have danger. There will always be men like Dante who think they can use you against me. I'll do everything in my power to keep you safe, but I can't promise there won't be threats. I know. I lifted my head to meet his gaze. But I'd rather face danger with you than be safe and alone. These past weeks, you've shown me what it means to be seen, valued, protected. I'm not giving that up because it's complicated. You're remarkable. He kissed me softly, tenderly. How did I get so lucky? I'm the lucky one. You saved us, Alessandro. You gave us a life I never dreamed possible. No, you saved me. You reminded me what I was fighting for, what matters beyond power and territory. You gave me something worth protecting beyond my family's legacy. His forehead touched mine. You gave me love. We sat in comfortable silence as the city lights flickered to life below. Two people from different worlds who'd found something precious in each other. Tomorrow, we'd start planning a wedding. Next week, I'd officially become Elena Vitale, and Lily would grow up in this house, surrounded by safety and love and butterflies and greenhouses. Tell me something, I said eventually. That first night, when you asked my name, did you know then that this was going to happen? Alessandro smiled, and it was the genuine one, the rare gift he gave so sparingly. I knew you were important, that you'd change everything. I didn't know I'd fall in love, but I knew I'd never let you go. He pulled me into his lap, his arms wrapping around me like a fortress. Best decision I ever made. Claiming me? Choosing you. His lips brushed my temple. You could have run, could have refused me. But you stayed, you fought. You let me in despite the danger. That takes courage most people don't have. Or stupidity, I teased. Never. His voice turned serious. You're brave, Elena. Braver than you know. And I'll spend the rest of my life proving to you that this choice, choosing me, choosing us, was the right one. Inside, I could hear Lily singing softly in her sleep. Some made-up song about butterflies and princes. Alessandro heard it too, and something in his expression softened impossibly further. She's going to call me Papa, if you want that, if you're ready for it. I want everything with you, every moment, every milestone, every ordinary day and extraordinary night. He stood, lifting me effortlessly in his arms. Come to bed. Not for anything but sleep. I know you're exhausted, but I need you close. Need to know you're safe and here and mine. In his massive bed, wrapped in his arms with the sound of my daughter breathing peacefully in the next room, I finally understood what home felt like. Not a place, but a person. This dangerous, devoted man who'd claimed me so completely. I love you, I whispered into the darkness. Ti amo mia bella, he murmured back, his voice drowsy. Forever. And as I drifted into sleep, I knew with absolute certainty that forever with Alessandro Vitale, complicated, dangerous, overwhelming, was exactly what I wanted. The Mafia boss had thought I was just another acquisition, another deal to close, but somewhere between that first meeting and this moment, he'd realized the truth. I wasn't something he could possess. I was someone he'd chosen to love, and that made all the difference. 3 days later, in a small chapel with only our closest people present, I became his wife. Lily scattered rose petals down the aisle, declared Alessandro the prettiest papa ever, and fell asleep during the reception on his shoulder, completely trusting. My parents sent a card, not much but a start. Isabel sent nothing, but her absence spoke volumes. The people who mattered were there. Vittorio, whose booming laugh filled the room. Maria, who cried happy tears. Marco, who actually smiled. And Carlo, who promised to teach Lily self-defense when she was older. As Alessandro slid the ring onto my finger, a band of diamonds that caught the light like captured stars, I saw our future spread before us. Not perfect, never easy, but ours. Built on passion and protection, darkness and devotion. You may kiss your bride, the priest said. And Alessandro's smile was pure joy. The kiss sealed everything, our past struggles, our present love, our future together. When we finally broke apart, his eyes shone with unshed tears. Mine, he whispered, so only I could hear. Yours, I agreed, always. And as we walked back down that aisle, Lily between us, her small hands in ours, I realized something profound. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is open your heart. But sometimes that risk brings you exactly where you were always meant to be. Home.